It's 2024. The age of AI is upon us, and the blue lives are still mattering. You're taking a walk at the local park, and you see a nice tent with two ladies at the desk, handing out stickers and water bottles. One of them is Qingyi. So what crimes could I allegedly do to get this smallest sentence, yet the hardest punishment? Welcome to your Qingyi build guide, where we break down our kit, build, and applications on the field. This isn't a fire drill, and we're ready to deploy our next limited S-tier agent with stunning force. This video again contains footage from the creative server. We'll do our best to correct any information as we go. And now with that out of the way, let's ring up 911 to start the Qingyi full guide breakdown. Qingyi in Mandarin means easy or easily. And let me tell you, this is not what her kit is. Contrary to what you might have seen or whatever Reddit forums you've been browsing, yes, put that down, Sonny. You've got the ZZZ guide maker right here. So let's begin with her basic attack and okay, so there's 4 skills here. Like, are we sure that we didn't just slap all of her skills into the basic chain? What is, okay, so that's right? That's right. Oh, okay. Okay, so she's just like uber strong, right? Okay. Qingyi's basic attack starts with her normal basic attack chain, called the penultimate. That is a 4-hit combo with a third attack, which in my first impressions video, we coined the electric boogaloo. So with her third basic, she turns into Donkey Kong from the hit game Redacted, and slams down on the ground with immense force, dealing electric damage. Now, if you were to spam the auto, you can actually continually go on forever. And here are 3 properties you'll need to know about the electric boogaloo. Qingyi at a certain interval will shine a bit, and this will indicate that her 4th basic attack at the end is ready with an even greater enhanced multiplier. Qingyi can actually end the state anytime by letting go the spam of attacks, which will automatically flow into her 4th basic attack of the chain. This is important for 2 reasons. A is that she's able to continually flow between the attack, and when she performs the 4th auto, she snapshots the placement of her chain and can flow right back into the electric boogaloo, meaning you could ultimately continue this forever. B, to allow the 4th basic attack to proc automatically allows for easy DP assisting, or dodge parry assisting. This is where you input the dodge and parry inputs at close frames with each other, such that the game will input both, leaving you to attack with 2 units at the same time, building up more days and leading to more DPS. And third, this electric slam will lead directly to the next portion of her basic attack abilities, the Flash Connect. Differing from Ellen-Jo and Yuan, who have the point systems to their stacks, Qingyi has a battery pack at the bottom of her HP bar that indicates the charge of her Flash Connect. When she reaches 75%, which can be obtained in around 3 seconds of purely using the electric boogaloo, you reach the Flash Connect voltage state, in which you will be able to unleash the enhanced Moonlit Blossom attack. This would be her charge attack. Without the Flash Connect voltage state, you can perform the lesser version called the Enhanced Blossom. This is probably the worst part of her kit, and you'll always be wanting to build up to her Enhanced Moonlit state over this because it simply gives you more damage and will lead into your core passive called the Eternal Seasons that revolves around the Enhanced Moonlit Blossom attack. Once you're able to unleash this attack, she will land a finishing strike that will count towards stacks of subjugation. These subjugation stacks essentially buffer damage for the latter half of her kit rotation. And with that, we finish with one of her abilities. Whew. To recap, she can perform 2 different actions out of this skill. The basic auto chain, which includes the electric boogaloo, and then there are the charge attacks, only wanting to wait till your battery bar is full to unleash the enhanced Moonlit Blossom. Now let's talk about subjugation. Unlike the more simplified characters of Anby, they don't have effects that follow up after building up days of their other attacks. Well, Qingyi does, and even though this means spending more time on field, the buffs and damage are incredibly worth it. Subjugation can stack up to 20 times, and this will allow Qingyi to gain a damage multiplier for when the enemies are stunned. This is extremely potent, especially when you have characters that benefit from enemy stun like Yuan, who gains up to 80% at core level F. So why is this significant, and why should I even build up these stacks? Well, it's because damage output from getting to high stacks of subjugation are absolutely worth it. And even though you are getting 10 after 1 full rotation of the Enhanced Moonlit Blossom, you can actually position yourself to potentially get hit in the middle of that attack, and you'll end the rush of blows early. You can actually perform a perfect dodge into the final strike, which can gain you up to the max of 20 stacks automatically. With max subjugation stacks, the core passive will provide you with a total of 80% increased damage multiplier at max level, leading you to provide the team with around 230% in damage multipliers, which is a mega buff to the natural 150% that we usually get. This is where the value of Qingyi lies. Before we move on, Qingyi wants to know if you subscribed yet. You can get a free play sticker pamphlet, and pubsec keychain. So smash the subscribe button now. Now let's move straight into the rest of her kit. Yes, we've barely even touched the other portions like the special. There are 3 forms of the special. First, the regular special called the Sunlit Glory. This is a 3-hit strike leading into a downward slam. To be honest, this attack is pretty decent at stun buildup, but more likely within your rotations you won't be finding yourself using the skill simply because of the penultimate Electric Boogaloo and Moonlit Blossom being so potent. You'll always be charging up to your EX special, known as the Moonlit Begonia. This attack is much stronger, has you increasing the number of attacks by also knocking up small ops and striking them midair before slam dunking them to the ground. Both of these deal electric damage and will also add to your flash connect meter, meaning those extra electric attacks are necessary to search and seize your enemies for bigger damage. Oh yes, and did I mention that there was a third feature that if you hold down the EX special, you can get 2 more hits during the somersaulting flip attack, but at the cost of 20 more energy. Later in this video, I'll go over why building up to the EX special hold version is ideal for the fastest rotation from 0 to stun. But for more pedestrian enemies, not including bosses and elites, you'll be perfectly fine with your regular tap of the EX special. And of course, who could forget the ultimate, the 8 sounds of Ganzo. Now, more than likely, we will be never using this ability at the cost of decibels. Your attack or follow-up units will get more mileage out of them using their ults, especially when you don't gain much with the multiplier of 3300 at max levels, with less offensive base scaling than your DPS units. You probably won't be queuing with her anytime soon, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't level it because the value actually comes from the chain attack. More than likely, you'll be using Qingyi to stun and get her team to unleash damage during the stun state. This will lead into the chain ability. Not only does this do big chain damage comparatively, but it also gets a damage increase of up to 60%. 3% for every subjugation stack up to 20, meaning your rotation should be Penultimate and Begonia to enhance Moonlit Blossom, to Chain, to Tranquil Serenade, then swapping to your DPSs. Of course, this is an oversimplified version, but we'll go through the nuances when we get into the combat breakdown. And before we switch, let's quickly mention the assist and dodge skills. These two are pretty cut and dry. Not to say that they are less effective, but there's no real special or unique abilities with these dodge counters or assist follow-up attacks that warrant more discussion. But don't forget to level up the assist, as the increase in buildup of Flash Connect also ties to your assist attacks. And over the beta, she actually got an increase to her assist daze buildup for assist attacks and decrease in her dodge follow-up multipliers, albeit they're still both valued skills. Let's start moving forward into our build breakdown segment. But I need to come clean. I actually hid something from you in the kit breakdown. I didn't mention a little hidden portion of Qingyi that is related to her stat threshold, so we'll get to that right now. First, let's show you a nice graphic of her materials. Please reference this to learn what materials you'll need at which levels. And of course, the resources to get to the 50s and 60s can be exhausting. So make sure that you're still prioritizing your investments into your DPSs like GN first. Then let's move into her W engine. Her signature is called the Ice Jade Teapot. And we know that Qingyi loves to brew that good tea. With this passive, she's able to pour the tea and share it around too, because this passive called the Rising Melody will allow her to stack terrific stacks. There can be 30 total, and each will grant her 0.7% more impact each stack, counting down independently for 8 seconds. For others like Lycon, Anby, or Kaleda, this engine is not ideal because of how fast you'll need to attack to keep up with the stacks. With Qingyi's Penultimate and Electric Boogaloo, you'll have no problem reaching the top, and at 15 stacks, you will be granting your allies a 20% scaled damage bonus for 10 seconds, turning Qingyi into a support character. Are you kidding me? If we take a look at our build graphic here, the other best options will be the Restrained, Steamed Oven in the A tier slot, and even the Fossil coming into play. However, because of Qingyi's more optimized field times being shortened due to her day scaling being increased, she would actually like the options of Anby signatures, and thus Kaleda's S tier signature to help her build more energy recharge for that EX special hold version of hers. And drive disc time. This section has changed over the course of the beta. Initially, it was okay to go more offensive, but with the change of her kit, she would appreciate the Fort Impact Shockstar Disco as the main set. And then you'll be running the 2-set Swing Jazz, which increases your energy recharge by 20%. Unfortunately, that means you'll have to operate in 2 different cleanup stages, but if you're lazy like me, run the Energy Recharge W engine, like Steamed Oven, and then run your 4 Shockstar Disco and 2 Thunder Metal for max Taser Pain. Then let's get to your stats. And do you remember me mentioning how I hid something from you before? This is where we bring in the core passive additional effect, 3 verses of Farewell at Yang Pass. The Yang Pass additional ability will grant you 20% increased daze and basic attack bonuses up to 600 attack for every point of impact over 120. That was a lot of text, so let's give you the Anton Bro breakdown. Reach 220 points of impact to get the max 600 attack bonus, bro. And honestly, it should be relatively easy once you've maxed out her build. More than likely, folks, you'll be shuffling around 150 through 185 impact, which honestly is still good, so don't worry if you can't get to 220 straight away. Qingyi as a mixed DPS and stun character can take a few directions, but mainly you'll be wanting to run impact at 6 slot, electric at 5 slot, and crit at 4 slot. You don't need the attack or pen much, but definitely focus on them within the substats along with your crit spread, which should ideally be around 50 to 60 crit rate to 100 crit damage, a 1-to-2 ratio. If you found some of these graphics fun and helpful, know that I have all of them and more for other characters and other charts to help you theorycraft your way to victory in the hollows over on my community Discord and Twitter. Stay up to date with everything going around the Jshoea tree. Get it? Joshua tree? With all of my links, the socials down below. And now that we have all the aspects of her build and kit out of the way, it's time to jump into the life of a PubSec robot and break down her combat rotations and combo lines. First, let's start with her standard rotation. As mentioned earlier, building up daze is your goal. In order to stun your opponents, start off with the Electric Boogaloo from the Penultimate and Moonlit Begonia. Get the ball rolling and build up your Flash Connect voltage state. Avoid enemies' attacks simply by either DP assisting or dodging to keep up the pressure. And when she is ready, unleash the enhanced Moonlit Blossom attack. If you perform everything right and have the correct amount of impact and daze buffs, there's no way that you shouldn't proc a chain attack from here. Use Qingyi's chain attack, the Tranquil Serenade, as your secondary attack if possible, then finish off with your DPS character to allow them to follow up on all the damage and momentum you've built. From there, you can intersperse your time between your support and stun to generate as much buildup of buffs and such for your next stun window. This is where your damage for Qingyi and subsequently Yuan will be most effective, as Qingyi gives herself some damage multiplier bonuses as well as damage buffs if you have her signature, and for the classic PubSec team, with Yuan, she'll gain at tops 80% damage bonus during enemy stun windows, which Qingyi's bread and butter. A few more advanced options for Qingyi can be shown here when you start with the Electric Boogaloo and utilize her dodging in EX special, timing iframes or invincibility frames to negate the enemy's advances and keep wailing. This will allow you to build daze the fastest by placing the EX special in between your Electric Boogaloo. It allows you to reach the Flash Connect voltage state much faster, thus leading to full stun combos like so. But not every enemy needs this amount of electricity to get into the chain state, so just make sure to change up your rotations as you see fit, and then making sure your subjugation stacks are at max for those juicy damage multipliers. I've also been testing swapping Qingyi into the slot before Nicole. Naturally, you see Anby being the quick assist user because of the need to build up daze with her assist, not Qingyi. She is a one-lady stun machine, and thus meaning that the window of stun opportunity of Yuan gets a few seconds longer. And I know I've been mentioning Yuan for the majority of time, but because the core passive can actually work with faction resonance as well as having an attacker on the squad, you can basically slot in any DPS or carry unit. Team breakdowns are as so. Her best current team is Yuan as the DPS, Nicole as the support for the defense shred and ether resonance bonus. Then you can also utilize other hypercarry teams like Necromata, Nicole, the Sons of Kaladin duo of Lucy and Piper, or even Soldier and Lucy can be lethal. Down the road, Jane Doe and Seth are coming too. Although Seth's performance as a pseudo-similar role to Qingyi, this just means that you can actually invest into her Mindscapes and she can become the sub-DPS you need, and you can rely on her to be the follow-up whilst you have Seth setting up the combo chains for you. Lastly, let's break down her Mindscapes and the values of each comparatively to her weapon. M1 allows Qingyi to have Flash Connect voltage at the start of the battle and reduces defense while upping her own crit rate when connecting an enhanced Moonlit Blossom. M2 is an increased damage and daze corresponding with your core stacks of subjugation. M3 is 2 points to your skill bonuses. M4 grants a shield, yet if you proc the shield with a previous one, she gains energy. Nothing that moves the needle for me, and is the least effective Mindscape that she has. M5 is another 2 points to your skill, and M6 is a doozy, granting you basically invulnerability in the enhanced Moonlit Blossom state, and increasing the crit damage by 100, which also reduces the enemy all attribute resistance by 20% for 15 seconds. That is cracked. Here is a small showcase of the difference in M0 to M6. Her enhanced Moonlit Blossom initially does 19,903 with the max buff of subjugation at 150%. Now factoring M2 with plus 4 skill points, 20% attribute res down, and 100% more crit damage, she can hit 46,780 damage with her Moonlit Blossom. Don't pay attention to the actual total, but pay attention to the percentage difference. This is around a 258% damage difference, and that's only through a singular instance of damage. M2 with an A tier W engine will be most people's breakpoints, but down the road, if you do manage to invest into her signature, that's just another way the PubSec automaton is able to beef up your squad. And with that, if any more information comes out on calculations or rotations for Qingyi, I will be referring you to a follow-up video in the comments below. If you've made it to the end of this video, comment down below your favorite flavor of tea. Mine is oolong. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe. My goal is 20k by the end of August, and if you are subscribed, you can win a $100 poll session for Qingyi. So stay tuned to my main platforms here on YouTube, Twitter, Discord, and lives on Twitch for more. Click on this next video because YouTube thinks you'll like it. Please enjoy Qingyi in version 1.1. Josh out.